Hello everyone, welcome to week 5 of Waffles the Good Boy Bonefeather Cagelocke tournament. My name is ProPokeNoob. I'll take you through the green division once again. Waffles makes it right in time the moment I do that. I don't know how you manage that, but it's just something incredible. We're at the halfway point. We're beyond the halfway point. In fact, we're into pretty much the end of the game. We're there. We are merely lacking a Koga badge. We are one surf away from accessing everything within the game, and our competitors are going to be looking for those final pieces to the puzzle for them to try and make it into the top 3 in order for them to be able to have a chance to make it into the playoffs to become the ultimate champion. I don't know what they're being called, though. I'm just going to call him a champion. Let's take a look at the standings where we left off a few weeks ago. Hasn't been a few weeks, but no big deal. Let's take a look at where we were after the defeat of Erica and the Cagelocks. Code Warlock still undefeated at 4-0. Craig and Amy both sitting in that second place, trying to get to that secured spot, sitting at 3-1, while the other 5 all sitting very evenly at the table, eating their 1/3 of the section. But that's not enough because they need a little bit more of a handful of food in order for them to be hungry enough to get to... That made no sense. I'm trying to be clever. I've been watching too many tournaments the past 2 weeks. My bad. Nonetheless, they need wins, and they need wins now. There are only 4 battles left, including the ones you're going to be watching today at the Koga checkpoint. And so far, Code has looked like he has been the strongest in the division thus far. Very strong Pokemon, has gone for the strat of just merely bringing his best, destroying everything he can, and just trying his and is continuing that victory. On the other side, Craig and Amy inheriting a very good ROM over from the Chrisman, who was formerly in the tournament, gets a victory on the first week that she's in, and is holding it up there in second place. For everybody else, we've been either seeing some sacrificial strats, or just teams not being that strong overall, in terms of whether or not they have been struggling to get catches or stay alive in the nuzlocke in general. Remember, it's not just about the 1v1 wins, it's also making sure that your runs in general are going to be going well so that you can make your way through the game and even make it to those points where you stand a chance. But at this point, anyone who's going to be receiving in that 1 and 3 section a loss is pretty much going to be out of the tournament almost, because there's no stopping Code Warlock. Even if he is delivered a loss or 2 near the end here, he's pretty secure to even be fighting just for top 3 in general. And for everybody else, there'd have to be a lot that would have to go wrong for this to happen like this. And, you know, if I see 5 people at 1 and 3, the chances are one of these people are going to be falling behind, especially with the matchups today. Let's take a look at what has happened on the Koga checkpoint. I did predict it would be a fairly quiet checkpoint, considering that there's not a lot that you can really do that you weren't already able to do at the Koga checkpoint. You couldn't do at the Erica checkpoint, or even the Surge checkpoint, time permitting, of course. Of course, the time is going to be a problem for everybody, but really, I did get what I asked for. There are not a lot of Pokemon that were killed off or caught. When you look at it, comparing it to other weeks and the like, there are a lot more Pokemon being acquired, but for Koga here, a lot of catches, not a lot of deaths. 6 of our 8 competitors actually not losing anything, which is quite impressive. And even some evolutions happening on the side. Breaking it down, Craig having literally the quietest week of all 3 Pokemon. Nothing died, nothing got. Just merely taking this opportunity to probably grind it up. I don't actually know what was happening there. I don't have the times. But nonetheless, yeah. What you see is what you get. You just see everybody maintaining a lot of momentum. Code picking himself up some more Pokemon, more options in the late game. I'm expecting him to be building towards having all of that. I'm expecting him to build towards all of that late game 6v6 theory crafting and just having some flexibility, even just stay ahead. He still has that 2-win buffer, even 3-win buffer over everybody else. So we'll have to see what has been happening after the matches this week. Zika's still having some problems here. It's been a tough one for Zika Foos. Lots of catches, lots of deaths, lots of evolutions, just a lot, right? The only thing that Zika Foos doesn't have is a lot of wins, and that's not a jab, that's just reality, and that's what the stats are proving here. Same thing with LC, having some tough losses. A good win, I believe, last week happened with the Erica checkpoint, the first win in the tournament for him, but it's tough because when you look at the teams, everybody's kind of had these Pokemon already, whereas Other people are just now getting to these Pokemon. We do see the Alakazams now being picked up here for a couple of our competitors here on Craig. And Duck, you can't see that. I can see that because I like to hide information from my viewers. But otherwise, you look at the strength of the teams we've already been seeing, and that's why I kind of figured this week was going to be very quiet, because it's just going to be people leveling up and strengthening. Oh, they're like just strengthening their teams, just hoping that they can make it through. Because really, if you're taking a look at these scores, like I said, the 1 and 3s are not looking that great if they're not trying to actually get victories here. And if Code Warlock goes 5-0, we're gonna have to take a look at the schedule afterwards to see what's been see what is happening with everybody. Because if no one is going to be threatening Code Warlock themselves, if they're at the bottom, you're just gonna have to rely on a wing and a prayer, really. You have to rely on your opponents to take them out, but then it also boosts them up, and you have to keep up with them. The pressure mounts the more you have to rely on other people controlling your destiny when it comes to your scores. So, yeah. Luckily, being gone didn't matter much because there wasn't a lot going on. It's a giant open canvas. It's very interesting. This does mean something, though. This does mean that a lot of the people who may have been not doing too well in the first 4 weeks will have a lot more Pokemon accessible to them, which means anything can happen. Do I expect people to still be throwing like an Execute into it and stuff like that? No, I do expect people just still to be bringing their strongest, and it's I don't know what they bring right now because it's kind of risky. Alakazam was really strong, but now there's gonna be a lot of physically offensive Pokemon that can still take a hit. Snorlax is on the table. Depending on like the Nidoqueen, I just don't think you could bring it anymore. But like you have to be careful with Gengars, even if I can't remember exactly what items they can get, but you do have to be cognizant of the movesets that you could be going against. We saw some cheese last week with the pair of flinching from the Drowsy, which was LC's victory, but like you can still win this through hacks. You can still win this through stalling them out in a 1v1 and just taking out one of the more offensive Pokemon. And really, I do expect that by the end of this tournament, anyone who makes it to the top probably has lost an offensive Pokemon here or there, but not many people are going to see what the defensive options are going to be, because literally the victories that are getting people the scores right now are the most offensive victories. Not everybody's stalling out and being at the top like that. So either having a good matchup, a favorable matchup by just bringing probably the strongest Pokemon at the checkpoint, or just having access to a plethora of Pokemon that are all going to do well, and then you have your best for last. So I'm curious to see what this week's going to bring, considering there's a lot more, but there's still some standouts. Obviously, I would assume, I would have to hope, that people have grabbed Strength and Surf at the same time now, so maybe we'll see some of those Pokemon come out. There are some decent water Pokemon that you could be using to challenge some of the stronger Pokemon, like if you didn't want to bring your Alakazam. I think you have access to Golduck. I think you have access to... How many people have not lost their Blastoise in green? Anyways, yeah. I'm curious to see what people are gonna bring. There's too much flexibility at this point now, right? Like you could see. I don't think anyone will be throwing it. I think everybody will just be bringing their best. I don't think you're gonna see that many. Do I want to say you don't see many fighting Pokemon? Are you still worried about Alakazam at this point in the game? Probably. Like, if I'm going through this and I'm looking at this and I go, what would my opponents actually be trying to bring to mess me over? Like, what would be their strongest at this point, right? I would assume that the trade pokes, Machamp, Golem, like if they have that Machamp, Golem, Alakazam, if they have something along the lines of a bulky water Pokemon, if they still have their starters, and that's probably going to be leveled up. But simultaneously, you know, losing, if you bring one of your best and then the other person brings just the better matchup, they're gonna win like that. And that's what's actually gonna look like in game number 1. And I'm going to shock and awe you, because we are going to see a change in the balance today. There is a change in the balance today. First of all, I got a new song for you. Second of all, you need to see this, because we have the 4 matches for week 5. And I'm just gonna let you stare at this first match, and you tell me who wins this match. You might remember that if you can't beat him, you kick him in the shins, and that is exactly what Scrubby is going to do to Code Warlock. It doesn't matter if Snorlax is going to take it lying down. Low Kick finally uses the weight of the Pokemon to deal its damage, and for the first time in this tournament, Code Warlock was delivered his loss. And in a one-shot, no less. Shoutouts to the Paris versus Nidoking stuff, because that is one of those situations where you bring a strong Pokemon. Snorlax is really good. Machamp is okay, but Machamp wins that one at the end of the day, and losing Snorlax at this particular point is a big deal for future implications depending on how Warlock was going to build his team. So the Snorlax is down. I still think it's not the worst, but it is a nice point. Like we said, those other 5, if your name is not Craig, Amy, or Code, you need a victory, and this is the victory you need to see during this week, starting now, to make that comeback for top 3. Our next matchup here, we actually have Craig Step versus That Duck, Snorlax versus Alakazam. This one's interesting. Alakazam deals a lot of damage, has no physical defense. Snorlax has good special defense. So to see this play out, we have to see the damage roll of what that Psychic is going to be, because you're going to have it. We're actually going to see a Reflect set up first, and that Shadow Ball, by the way, which is physical in Gen 3, which means it is going to be a 3-shot, and that special defense drop comes too late. Need a crit, don't get it. Snorlax will get a victory in this one here for Craig, and Duck, being one of those 1 and 3, looking on the fringes of being eliminated, not having that much of a chance at this point without a Miracle Run the next 3 weeks. But that's one of those situations, those types of matchups, you got 2 strong Pokemon. Once again, just having that coverage, having that strength, even Body Slam would have done a lot there, because Stab makes it 120, which actually, I think, yeah, it still would have been a 3-shot versus the 160 of Shadow Ball. So either way, Snorlax wins that because of the sheer special bulkiness of it. The next match, Joe Fluff versus Zikafoos. We have a Hypno versus Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen not liking this matchup too much, and we do have the Psychic actually have taught or learned on the Hypno. I don't remember what level it has to be to learn the Psychic, but nonetheless, Nidoqueen can't do much in this without a bunch of support, and even then, nothing super effective. So that is going to be the Nidoqueen going down. Honestly, not the biggest loss. Having the Hypno, it's a good bulky Psychic Pokemon. It's a very decent Pokemon actually to be stalling out, especially in a mixed tier type of tournament. It will do more than enough that you need it. So once it starts getting stuff like, I can't remember if it Get Wish in Gen 3. I remember what it can actually get, but it can use Rest Strats, it can Thunder Wave, it can basically stall Pokemon out. It can be good also with Headbutt if it's brought into a 6v6, so it's a very, like, there are better versions of stall Pokemon for this to keep you on your team, but that's still not bad. So, good work for Joe, needed that victory. For Zikafoos, somebody's got to fall. It as a 1v1 the last match in week 5 here. LC versus Amy. And this is interesting because if that Ninetales gets a burn, first of all, that's a fox, not a dog. Second of all, if that gets a burn on the Dodrio, that's not going to be good for Dodrio. Dodrio has good offense, but Ninetales is actually deceptively bulky and has good offense all around. It's just a decent overall Pokemon. In terms of moveset, we'll have to see what has been taught to it. As a Will-O-Wisp is actually already fired out, does burn the Dodrio. As the Tri-Attack is used, does get the 20% Paraproc. Probably the second best thing could ask for, because you can't burn it, which is actually not bad when you think about it. But Pursuit being used there is interesting, considering, yes, it is on the special side, but you don't have a lot of special on it. You might as well go for the Fury attack that it is holding. Just try and get 5 hits, crits, stuff like this. The burn is going to be ticking down with 3 Fury attacks, so we could have seen 2 para hacks on this Ninetales to finish it off, potentially. But alas, it's not enough damage nonetheless. The burn is too powerful. Takes down LC, takes down the attack, and Amy's going to come out with another win to challenge for that first place. And that's all you needed to know for week 5. Literally. That's literally it. That's the show. We're done. No. Okay. Let's take a look at the implications of this at the end of week 5. You have, that's not anything, dang it. At the end of week 5 with those points, Craig and Amy with Code Warlock losing to Scrubby. Craig and Amy will now be tied for first in this division. A 3-way tie for first, a 3-way tie for third, which is not enough in this. But Joe and Scrubby being the 2 who break out from the 1 and 3 crowd to try and make that challenge for top 3. It is possible. It will take a lot of statistical unlikeliness, but Code being delivered that blow actually puts a little bit of pressure. Also losing that Snorlax, very, very important. Probably one of the big, another big loss is obviously watching that Alakazam fall too. That's not going to be great. But then again, that's also on somebody who right now is sitting at 1-4. The chances of that mattering, well, you got to even be challenging for that. And losing something like that when you're down there is really, really not going to feel good. Oh, we have an anonymous gifter. We have 3 anonymous gifts. That's surprising. Thank you very much, Anonymous, for gifting to Poltergeist, the Boix, and Marie. Marie didn't resub? What? Thank you very much. But, Poltergeist, Boix, and Marie, welcome back to being fellow nooblets. Embrace the face if you'd like. I'll have to hit up the Boix for his name or trainer class in future Nuzlocks and speedruns. Beautiful. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. But yeah, essentially, if you take a look at the implications, that takes Code Warlock's team down a peg, which does matter because he is in contention for top 3, has always been. For Scrubby, making it through and Joe Fluff getting those wins, it is going to be important to see what happens at the Sabrina checkpoint for them because, in my opinion, the Sabrina checkpoint is the most important to see how people use their time, what they catch, what they finish, because once you have access to Surf, you have access to the entire game. So, minus like the Sevi Islands, but that's being used later on. We'll talk about that, I think, at playoffs time. But nonetheless, basically, starting from now until week 6 is completed, which I believe everybody is completing this week, we have the full game open, which means your 2.5 hours become ever more important to get right and to get it as optimal as possible. If you are Code down to Nubby Doo, you are making sure that you are making every play as best as you can, planning out that route, trying to get the time to work the best you can, and get some more strong Pokemon so you can continue all of these climbs and still contest, because it's not out numbers-wise for Joe and Scrubby. But let's take a look at the schedule. I didn't do anything special for it. I'm just going to look at the Discord. Because I was trying to do it. I always get lost when trying to read the remainder of the schedule to try and decipher what they would need to do for the numbers. The one thing that I always look at in my own tournaments when I'm looking at what are the chances of these people making it, simply put, you want to see if they have control of their own destiny. The stress of that control of your own destiny, it does matter quite a bit. It's affected players in the past. It has made things very difficult, and also it also shows you the strength of the schedule for remaining players. So if I take a look at the remaining players here, for Warlock, for example, he's got Zikafus, Lost Crusader, and then whatever happens on Giovanni. But Zikafus and Lost Crusader, these two are actually not threatening in terms of numbers, which means that Scrubby and Joe do not get to fight Code, try and kick them out of that particular spot. The people that do have to be worried, I think, is Craig, because Craig goes up against Amy, so that will be a power thing right there. Someone's going 5-1 next week and 4-2, which will matter because that means Joe and Nubby Doo can try and have control over that. But Craig is going up against Amy and then Nubby. So so here's that element of control. Joe doesn't have control over that. Joe has to continue to win against the people who are not threatening him necessarily for the spot in top 3, because none of them are in top 3 right now. But for Scrubby, he is paying attention to everything because he actually stands a chance. His first match is going to be up against LC, and then he's going to be going up against Craig. So he wants to be paying attention to what's happening with Craig and then making sure that he's doing everything because he has the most control over his own destiny right now, technically, because he actually influences one of those scores. So if he wins next week and then he goes up against Craig, he can actually shift a lot of that power to try and get himself at least to remain in the top 3 for that. But nonetheless, I mean, for everybody else, you're looking at Duck, you're looking at Ziga, like, things can happen. It doesn't mean it's completely over, but the reality is, between Craig and Amy, if you're looking at it right now, one of them will have to go up to 5, which means the max that Duck, Zika, and Lost Crusader can hit right now is 4 wins. So they're not going to be getting first place. Somebody has to win up to 5 in that particular matchup. So right now they'll be playing for that wild card spot, for those 2 wild card spots to try and get in. But it's also going to depend because you'd look at Duck. Duck's going to be going against Joe, right? Which is perfectly fine according to these standings. And then Duck is going to be going up against Zikafus. Once again, like, Duck is playing against the other people who are kind of at the bottom with him, which means you have to watch the top. If anything shifts at the top, you have 2 people getting 5 wins. Like, if 3 people get 5 wins, it's over. right? You just can't manage that. But again, that would rely on Amy then, because let's say Craig beats Amy for some reason, 5-1-4-2. Amy gets another victory there. That's basically it, right? I expect Code to continue to crush. I don't expect Code to be losing to top 3 or something. Like, he would have to get a lot of really unlucky matchups at the end of it all in order for him to lose this type of thing. But for Joe and Scrubby, they're just watching that top. But I mean, if you're Duck, Zika Foos, and Lost Crusader, once you see 2 people up to 5 wins, it's not looking good. It's really not looking good, considering the strength of the schedule is very difficult for not Duck, but for Zika Foos and Lost Crusader. It's looking kind of like you're fighting some of the top people here in this division, and you know, it is possible. I'm rooting for every single person. Statistically, numbers don't lie sometimes. Sometimes numbers never lie, but you know. Maybe the strength of the Sabrina checkpoint with what they whip out will help them stay alive. And let's talk about that a little bit. So like I said, you have everything open to you. You have Seafoam Islands, you have Pokemon Mansion you can go to. Because you have Fly, you can actually make these types of plays. It's really easy to see what path you want to take and go from there. And Sabrina has luckily a lot of trainers in her gym you can grind off of, like in level 40s, so you can use that as a decent grinding point for whatever Pokemon you need to catch up with the XP share and the like. Otherwise, yeah, you pretty much have everything open to yourself, so you can play around with whatever you see fit and make that work. I don't know how many people have completed Silphco, because that could be a good chunk of time. I would almost probably rush Silphco just to get out and actually fight, or choose, like, maybe look up some of the Pokemon that are really, really good in, like, some of the trainers that are really, really good for grinding in Silphco and go from there. Maybe do a little more research, because you have so much open, you want to kind of know what you're getting into and get sort of stuck with that. So, but yeah. Everything's gonna be open. They can even go into the likes of like Blaine's gym with the secret key and just grind on those trainers, just get that out of the way. I don't really know what the end game will look like for everyone. It depends on how Burnout's looking and how everybody is just in general feeling about their overall runs. It gets scary, obviously, fighting those higher level trainers to try and grind within the 2.5 hours and head back and beat that current gym leader. But luckily, after Koga, the levels have kind of normalized. You're not making this level 32 to 43 jump. Now you're just going from 43 to 48 or something like that, or 46, and then 49 and 50 something, and you're just going from there. So, you know, you have a good amount open to you without having to beat a gym leader. You've got good grinding points. You've got access to Articuno as well as the Zapdos. No Moltres. You can't get that because Sevi Islands. But Revival of the Fossils are a little bit easier now if they haven't done that yet. So go grab that Aerodactyl. I'd probably say Aerodactyl might be the one you'd want to go for, depending on how Nuzlocke rules are working with that. But Aerodactyl is like kind of the flexible revenge killer, suicide lead sort of type of Pokemon. Whereas Omastar and Kabutops, Omastar, yeah, is probably better than Kabutops. I hate saying that, but Helix does win that war in terms of competitive viability, especially looking at the teams that we're looking at. But in terms of reliability, it really depends on what your team needs. At this point, I don't see a lot of waters left on the team, so Omastar might just be the call to go for to try and help out a little bit. Because Golem's not going to be the rock type you want to rely on, right? Rhydon's not too bad. Golem is okay, but I mean, like, in terms of what you're looking at, what you're going to need on your teams, if you need offense, Omastar and Aerodactyl will fill the bill, depending on whether or not you need a sweeper or you just need someone who has a lot of damage for basic attacks that they could try and use. So, admittedly, it'll come down to what people really are looking for and what they need, and just go from there. So, yeah, should be interesting. We'll see. We'll have to track what people are reviving, and what people's strategies might be when you look at the evolutions. Right now, like, one thing that I'm using as a metric is not so much like watching their runs. I'm just looking at who's actually evolving. So if I see someone like Craig at the Koga checkpoint, Alakazam, Dragonair, Starmie, that means that Dragonite is on its way. Probably a lot of time was spent to get that Dragonair leveled up. Stone Evos are very easy. Nidoqueen, Nidoking, obviously. Executor is very easy to do, of course. But if I see like Gengar, Machamp on Scrappy Nubby's team here, that means that they have spent time to try and get this thing to get these things to evolve to be options later on. Try and win these types of things. I mean, Scrubby won with the Machamp, but you know, if you're looking for these types of ins, you just want flexibilities. Because if you're going to lose a Pokemon, you have 3 more to take its place, you can build a better 66 of the late game. So, that's why. We'll have to see once Sabrina information comes in. That is going to be, in my opinion, probably the most revealing of what the tournament's like, what direction the tournament's gonna go, as well as like what the end game plans are gonna be for everybody. Like, truthfully, I do believe this will be the most important week that we have coming up for us. This is just kind of the break, the teaser, the opportunity for us to theorize on paper, but then watch it on screen. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Week 5, summarized, theorized, broken down, made easy, made simple. That's literally all you need to know. We'll see you for week 6. Good luck, challengers. Take care. That's it. That's literally it, guys. I don't really know what else to say for it. There's not much to talk. Next week will be the big one. Hey, Jez, good to see you, man. You missed the whole show. My entire 26-minute show. Oh, you've been lurking. Perfect. Nice. You caught the whole 26-minute show. Yeah, for those who are part of Waffles tournaments, if you've been looking for the updates or stuff like that, my grandmother passed away last weekend, so I've been taking time to myself and just kind of slowly coming back to streaming. But if the information is put in, I will be able to commentate, at least keeping up from now on. So yeah, it's looking interesting. This is that Code Warlock loss makes things a little more interesting up at the top, because now the battle between Craig and Amy will be pretty tight, and I do expect Code to continue to win. But well, it'll be interesting to see who will take pure second place in 1 or 2 weeks time. Was it 1 or 2 weeks time? Next week. Actually, Sabrina, it'll be seeing who actually takes second place, or if Code also drops, and then we have a 2-way tie for second. Am I free in 2 hours? No, I have a tournament to commentate in 2 hours. Unless it's something that's really quick. Like, do you need me for long? Because the thing's at 3. So, like, if we start at 2 and then it doesn't go for very long, I can, it'll be recorded? Okay. That's fine. What is it? What is it? What is it? Oh, wait, so why? So, what do you need me for? I want to be a part of it, Jez. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll be free. I'll be free at 2, as long as I'm like out. Like, if I leave by 2:30, that's all that matters. I just have to be out of there by 2:30. That's it. Easy peasy stuff. Discord or your live stream? What are you talking about? No, we heard that song. I want to show off the other side. Private stream? Ooh. Okay, yeah, sure. I'll be there. Yarp. Questions? Concerns? Anything? Anything you want to know about the tournament? Ask Waffles. Anything you want to know about competitive play? Ask either of us. You have a question. Oh, God. Amy is winning this tournament? I hope so. It is a major disadvantage for her coming in, taking someone else's team, but luckily she inherited a nice record of 2-1. Why am I so pretty? I was born that way. Why am I so good at Pokemon? I played it for 24 years. I wouldn't say I'm good at it, though. That's why I quit competitive. I was a 1300 ELO showdown player. I'm not that good. I played on PO, but I played there just to hang out with the cool kids and hopefully end up on a Pokegame video. I shit you not. If I ever ended up on an ELO, MBZ, Shofu, or Pokegame video, I would have been popular, but I didn't because I'm not good. Actually, I did end up on an MBZ back when he was called Emperor ZMB. I ended up on a video for me eating a 7-layer peanut butter sandwich as a challenge. So, you know, that's my claim to fame: eating a 7-layer peanut butter sandwich on a Pokemon channel, and even then, it was just a link. What do you mean my name is on Shady's PC? What do you mean? What does that mean? I mean, Ace, not to, yeah, I know Shady Penguin. What do you mean PC, though? Which PC? Oh, because I'm in your credits. I was trying to make the connection. I'm like, ah, yes. No, because I was like, what do you mean his PC? Like, he named me after a Pokemon in his Nuzlocke run? Like, I don't drink coffee. Fuck that shit. Ace, if you are interested in a tournament, I am running a tournament next Sunday. There is information in my Discord, not to take away from Waffles, but I mean, that's why I'm not streaming it during Waffles time. But we are running a tournament next Sunday. It's a multi-gen tournament. So it's randoms, but you guys draft and ban generations each series. So it's a best of 3. You and your opponent will ban a generation, and then one person will pick a generation. The loser of that then picks the next generation, best 2 out of 3, and then we go into best of 5s in the playoffs. Depending on how many people participate, it'll be a double elimination, or it'll just be a round robin. We'll see. Actually, Jez, I was going to ask you that. Do you mind if I advertise that in your Discord? I know people were itching for an event. Okay. Where should I put it? Off topic? Run by, yeah, sure. I just did. I can run by you again. I mean, to be fair, it's a one-day tournament. It is a one-day tournament. Drop in, drop out. If you ever feel like you're getting too tired, you can drop out at any point. There is no committal, no sign-ups. You just sign up on the day. You be there early. That's pretty much it. The only thing you need is Pokemon Showdown, which is in browser, and my Discord to talk with other players. That's it. Not even talk, like type to other players to organize drafts and bans. That's it. It's a very short tournament. I like to run one-day tournaments for the convenience of others because I'm also a very busy person. The major tournament that I used to run called the ProPokeNoob was a multi-week league that I helped organize with other people, or help organize other people in. That type of thing. So just making it just options. Anybody can join of any level. I have some really good players in my community. I have some brand new players in my community. Everybody in between. It's gonna be a fun time because it's randoms. And commentating randoms is always funny. But yeah, I'll be advertising that more on social media as well as in my Discord, and then we'll just go from there. I feel kind of bad because Pokemon Day is the 27th, right? And I'm like super busy that day, and I hate that. Always happens every year. Feels very blasphemous for me to, like, I'm commentating for Waffles and Millie for Pokemon that day, but it just kind of feels like that. Date of the tournament is February 28th. You could vote on the time that you want in the Tourney General. It's the pinned message. I'm going to be closing that voting tonight. The tournament, like I said, you could join, like, if you feel like you want to join at any point. It's difficult. Like, it depends on the format. I might have to close signups, but there won't be any limits to signups. But it's most certainly like a dropout at any time. Like, you're just getting tired, and let's say you're in the semifinals. If you want to drop out, we're not going to care. It's fine. It'll suck because, you know, it'll take away from other people, but if you have the little bit of time committal, no big deal. Probably run for about 4 hours or so. It's a best of 3, so yeah, I'll probably run about 4 hours, depending on how, again, it depends. It's run 2 hours before, it's run an hour and a half before. This is the first time we're doing this particular format. We like to mix it up with the tournament formats. You can also read the rules in the tourney board, which is very basic. And any other questions will be cleared up, no biggie. But yeah. No. There are some tournaments that would run all day. I just don't run them very often, or like once a year, or if I was to run something that long, I would run it for charity. It will be a quick one, depending on how many people. If there are like 20 people that sign up, which hasn't happened yet, the most I've had is like 14 in a tournament. So if that many people sign up, then I'll make sure to adjust the format to be quick. and then go from there. Just make that happen. No big deal. Literally no big deal. I have backups of 2 if people don't want to play best of 3s. We'll just take whatever generations you ban, and then that, whatever adds or subtracts to a generation, you have to play. Easy peasy. Well, I would run it better if I was doing a longer tournament with it, but I'm not, so. We're making it a basic tournament. It's all for fun. It's for slight bragging rights. It's for the show, right? That's what all my tournaments and all my events are for. It's all for the show, for the support if we are running for charity or for any other events. Looks like I might be part of I'm gonna try and be a part of another charity event happening in March. Because, you know, my plate wasn't already super full. I need to make it even more full. Excuse guys, give me 1 second here. Overly dry house plus commentary equals not fun. At all. In the slightest. Oh dear. Sorry. Well, that should be fun in a couple hours for my other tournament. Remember, I will be on twitch.tv/themillybugs stream for the NA qualifier tonight, qualifier number 7, in her Pokemon Emerald bingo tournament that she is running. I think they're extending the qual, so if you wanted to join and learn a bit, it's not that hard to learn. I stream it every week. I stream at least 1 bingo day every week, so if people want information, they can get it from me, no problem. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess we'll leave it at that. So yeah, if you guys wanted to find out the information, that's the Discord. Link was already posted. Otherwise, if you want to keep up to date with the other events that I run on the channel, or you're here for Waffles, and you are wanting to watch more of these live, because they are that short. If you watch the highlights, yes, I do keep the show short, because there's really, like, the stuff becomes interesting, the 6v6. I'm not saying it's not interesting now, but I'm saying, like, I could break it down and make it very straightforward for what's happening, at least from the battle perspective, as well as the theory crafting perspective of the data. But in terms of the play, obviously, you've got our 8 lovely contestants you can go watch live if you wanted to, or watch their VODs after. But, if you want to watch more stuff for the Bonefeather Cagelocke, make sure you follow at the top, or just follow on the social medias. You'll find out when I'm streaming it and go from there. Easy peasy. I try to do it every Saturday from here on out. Again, unless something changes, or an event or something like that, like a party distance and all that crap. So we'll go from there. But yeah, I'm gonna go offline so I can rest my voice. We'll be back on twitch.tv/themillybug stream for the. I was gonna say Bonefeather Bingo. No, not yet. He has not set up a bingo league yet. But, yes. Oh, is that? Oh, cool. Craig is actually streaming for his birthday and he's speedrunning. Well, that's neat. Let's go say hello. Maybe one day. I mean, I have hopes for certain tournaments that I want to run. Let's go say hello to Craig. It is his birthday. Let's go give some well wishes, some ProPokeJs if you got it, or just squid emote combinations and the like. And I'll see you guys on Millie's stream. In terms of my stream returning, we're probably back next. Oh boy, yeah. I don't know. We'll be back next. Probably Wednesday. We did finish Final Fantasy Tactics, so I could do slightly shorter streams again. I don't have to wait for like longer days to do those streams. So we might be back next Wednesday or Friday, because I have a couple of appointments next week. We'll see. Pokemon Day, though, all this, trust me, there's a lot happening next week. You guys are going to want to see it. I didn't mean to stutter on that, but, like, there's a lot going on. It's my whole brain going, oh, God, that's a lot. So, thank you much for watching, guys. We'll see you next week for the Bonefeather Cagelocke. We'll see you next stream. Till then, stay safe, stay happy, and peace.